Hey guys, I'm Tatjana Anders. I'm an actress, writer, producer, and I am currently releasing a new series on YouTube called Flatmates. So please be sure to check it out. It's just Tatjana Anders on the YouTube channel. You can find me really easily there, and I hope to see you. Thank you. To be honest, I'm in exactly the same boat. Like I've started doing sort of like YouTube sketches of I'm sort of like doing a series of
Flatmates, yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Flatmates. Checked it out.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doing more and more of that, and then I want to expand on it and do some like animated sketches and just be experimental and kind of like let myself loose a little bit with like the different content. I think it's, for me as a creative person, I think it's a good idea to just experiment and have a platform and see what people think. But again, it all takes time and energy, but I have a vision. Plan is to, I mean, if you just open yourself up to opportunities and you start experimenting, something's going to stick at some point.
Yeah. We hope so, right? Keeping
We
fingers
hope
crossed.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like, but you might have to, produce some content that isn't as good in
Yeah.
the
Mm-hmm.
on the way of getting there. So,
Yeah.
um, but ideally, just sort of like keep pushing and sort of be the best you can be, and then see what
Absolutely.
happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long have you been acting?
For about 7 years, I think, but I've never been to drama school.
Oh.
But I decided like 7 years ago, I met this acting coach, Michael Deval. He's a New York guy who lives in London,
Mm.
and he's struck me as someone who's very passionate about teaching actors, and I've been with him ever since, to be honest. So I've got like a private classes, but also every evening, really, pretty much every day in the week, he's doing these workshops
Mm.
where we work with scripts that are currently popular.
Yeah. Mm.
And it could be just like audition techniques, or it could be learning a scene and just doing it and filming it, watching it back, getting advice. So I think that has been really helpful for me, because I really am more focused towards film and TV, whereas drama schools are a bit more all-encompassing. They bit of theater, a bit of musical, a bit of film and TV, and it's actually really different the way you act and the way you present yourself in theater versus film, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of just want to focus on the things that I find useful for me, for my
Yeah.
career. So
Well, you're
yeah.
pretty good to say that you haven't gone to drama school to just kind of like be, right? You know
Thank
what I mean? I mean, I don't know a lot about like how to get into acting from other than from what I've, heard from people. But most people seem to that's where they start off. They start off in some type, even if it's in high school or, in their teenage years, they start off with some type of drama program.
Yeah.
Um, but
I did do theater when I was in school.
oh, okay. Okay. Is that why you want to stay away from theater? Because you just didn't.
um, no, I feel like it's not very. It's gonna sound a bit selfish, but I don't know. I feel like you give a lot in theater without getting much back, if that makes sense. So you have to sacrifice every evening. Like
Mhm.
you can forget your social life. It
Okay.
doesn't pay as well.
Yeah.
It's uh, it has its charm for sure, but I actually personally find film more powerful,
Yeah.
because you can see the actors up close. You can kind of like read their emotions more. It's a bit more real.
Hmm.
Theater, just because there is a big space, you have to a bit more,
Yeah. Yeah.
out there.
Hmm. Well, I've seen your show. Well, I watched your show. Look, I've watched just about everything that you posted on your YouTube
Oh,
channel.
thank you.
You're welcome. But I watched. your show reel several times, and you actually have range.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me what you feel like you're most comfortable with. Like what roles you think, or are you comfortable with all of them?
No, I think it's important to be focused in like how you present yourself. And to be honest with you, I'm still trying to figure out my kind of like brand, if that makes sense.
Really? Yeah, yeah. No, I
But
understand. Yeah.
I what I find very easy is like any emotional roles. Like I can cry on cue, you know,
Hmm.
I can get really emotional.
Yeah.
And I also really like any sort of I don't know, police or detective or
Okay.
kind of like a figure of authority.
Hmm.
Um, but having said that, you know, with my comedy sketches, I'm really
Yeah.
trying to push the boat and just try something completely different. So, you know, what I've done with the flatmates is, you know, some of the characters are kind of like a little bit outside of my comfort zone.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I think it's important as well to kind of know what you're good at, and in a way it's a tool for me to try and discover, you know, what haven't I found out about myself yet that I could use as a, you know, like a way to brand myself.
Yeah. So, but
Yeah.
over the 7 years, what have you improved on? Like, what are you better at now? Now that you're in that 7 year area.
You know, a lot of it I feel is acting. It has so much to do with confidence. It's crazy. Like you
Mm.
have to be confident in yourself and understand who you are a lot of
Yeah.
the times to be able to deliver a natural and engaging performance. I think a lot of the things that I've learned is also kind of have to like be natural, you know, and understand the character and understand the role and all that. But also there are things that you need to understand of like what works on camera.
Hmm.
Like, for example, you know, if you want to be seen as really powerful, you wouldn't move much. You would kind of like stare at the other person, and maybe even, you know, a lot of the times I see actors when they begin, if they want to be like an impressive boss who is like angry with his employee or something, you know, they start shouting, they start
Hmm.
like being whereas, and that actually takes away the power from you. So there's a lot of psychology involved in a way. Whereas, you know, if they just like, you know, get out, you'd be like, oh God, so this guy means business.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's funny how I think it's understanding the psychology and also what works and working on like what works for you as well. Like how do you come across on camera, and how do other people perceive you, and what kind of like things suit you and what things don't suit you. Like I find it very hard to get like really angry on camera. It just feels really strange for me because I'm very like chill person.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So yeah, and it's just like finding a way to do it that still works,
Hmm.
I guess.
Well, I completely understand. A lot of people seem like in that example that you gave, a lot of people are overacting, right? Like I've heard that term before, and they're overdoing it. They're acting as opposed to being that person. So I definitely understand that. Yeah, yeah. So what was it like to be? First of all, I was unable, I guess, to watch the full thing in the bunker. So what is that movie about, In the Bunker?
Oh gosh, I need to send you the link.
Okay.
It is out there and available.
Okay.
Um, it's funny with the bunker. It was sort of like a competition that we entered, and everything was really last minute.
Really?
We kind of like just wrote the script, and
Hmm.
it was it's a really short one, to be honest. That's sort of like about um an experiment. Oh, it's a tricky, it's kind of like messes with your mind, and I don't want to give away too much, but it's about these girls who are in the bunker, or not in the bunker, they're trying to get to the bunker because there's going to be a meteor hitting the earth, and one of them kind of like breaks, and
Mm-hmm.
and then there is a reveal because not everything is as it seems.
Yeah. Is it a short? It's a short film.
This one is a short film, yeah.
Okay.
I've done another short film that I spent a lot of time and energy kind of like researching and funding. We've gone through like an Indiegogo crowdfunding, and I found a producer as well, which is called Your Reality. I don't know if you've
Yeah,
seen the trailer.
I watched that.
So with that one, I actually am working or have worked with another script writer to turn it into feature. So we've got the script done now, and are
Okay.
now in the stages of like, raising the funds to actually make it happen. And that film is really, I don't know, it struck with me because it's about like gaslighting and psychological manipulation. And I find the topic just really interesting because it happens a lot to us and to everyone in one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
But people are obviously particularly vulnerable when they're in love and in relationships, because you kind of just assume that the other person has your best interests at heart, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when it's not the case, you just kind of like, whoa.
Yeah.
I thought this person likes me, but for some reason I feel really bad, or like I feel like I'm not good enough, or I feel like the other person like keeps putting me down, and chipping away at my self-confidence. And it
Are you selective about the roles you take?
Yeah, I am. I didn't used to be, but I really need to like it.
Okay.
Of course, it depends. Like if I feel like it's a massive career opportunity with like a big director or whatever, I probably will take it.
Yeah.
But if it's more like independent films and stuff, I'll definitely, like, I've turned down a few things where I'm like, this role doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Is there a difference other than the obvious, like other than money, right? Other
Yeah.
than money, is there a huge difference between a short film independent production and a big budget production?
It depends on what levels. I think in terms of it depends like where you're at. If you're an actor, from actor's perspective, no, there shouldn't be any difference. Like, you there to do, your job to the best of your abilities, to like make it engaging, exciting, and interesting. But because I've produced stuff in the past, and I'm also like, produce a short film and the now independent film, there is a huge difference. Just in terms of like so with a short film, for example, you can get away with people giving you favors, giving you like discounts, like
Mm-hmm.
getting the crew together. They're kind of like, okay, because it's only like a couple of days usually.
Mm-hmm.
People would come in and be like, okay. Whereas with a feature film, you can't expect people to like give you preferential treatment, because it will take like a month or so, right, to shoot it. So it's just it goes from like zero to like really, really quickly.
Is there a union there in London?
In UK, there is, yeah, but to be honest with you, it's not as strong as it is in US. Like, it's not as prevalent. And I know, for example, in US, when their jobs advertised, will clearly say sort of like union and non-union. Whereas in UK, they don't even mention that.
Like, but how do you get, because I think in America, in SAG, you need a certain number of points, which is related to the number of films or speaking roles you've been in. Is that the same way? Is that how you get into the London Union?
I honestly don't know. It's really bad. I agree. I wish we had a stronger kind of like more. I feel like a lot of people here don't get protected by the union as they could, and companies and film directors and stuff do take advantage of that, I feel.
I think that's a horrible aspect of entertainment regardless. Like writers write for pennies on a dollar because they want to be a famous writer. Singers, you know, record producers. It's across the board. It's such a terrible thing.
Yeah, it's a power play, you know, and it's I feel like for me personally, because when I first started off, I was like, you feel so much pressure. You asked me, you know, whether I turned down jobs. I think if I didn't produce myself or didn't like have the felt like I have the power to not rely on someone else, then I probably would be like taking every job and like being more desperate. Whereas now I'm coming more from the point of, you know, well, if I don't like that role, I just create a different one, or you kind of like become a bit more self-sufficient. And then because at the end of the day, it's just about the power, you know, who has the power to make something happen. And if you're completely reliant on someone else's opinion of you, or whether they like you or not, or whether, you know, you want to try and please them, and you're like at their mercy, and of course they can take advantage of you. Whereas if you feel like you don't actually need them, it'd be nice. It'd be nice if they help you, but you're not desperately clutching, you know, and like trying and begging them to give you an opportunity or whatever. It just puts you in so much stronger position. And I would highly advise to any actor out there to put themselves in that position where they, you know, can be a bit more proactive in creating content. They don't have to write, but they can work with independent writers and like create something really cool together. And it makes them a bit less, you know, needy.